guys, Paul here, and this is another video update to Void Destroyer 2. So it's been a bit of a while, huh? I believe about 3 months since I did the last update. I think the last update talked about how things kind of slowed down a little bit when Baby showed up. Baby is sleeping pretty well now. He's sleeping at around 7 p.m. He goes to sleep, thank God. So I get a little bit of time in the evening to work, and of course during the day when he takes a nap and my wife comes home, things like that. Various times I get a chance to work, so things are kind of going back to normal. In a way, things are kind of going back to sort of a schedule. Let me just change the music here, actually. There we go. I'm just gonna do some gameplay while I talk, just so there's something to look at here. So things are going well, you know, baby's healthy. Me and my wife were adjusting to our new roles, to our new lives. Let's get rid of this cutscene. So things are going well, very different than how our life used to be, but that's just how it is, you know. Like I said in other videos, a big goal of me being an independent game developer was to be working from home, having that flexibility, you know, with being there for future children, and that's what happened. So far so good. We'll see what the future holds, thanks to, you know, support of gamers like you. I'm able to do this, hopefully for a good amount of time still, but at least till Void Destroyer 2 is released, so I'm very thankful for that. So, alright, so let's talk about development, what I've been working on. Well, what I've been working on is early story missions, and that makes me really happy because I've been talking about that so long, and I'm going to work on that. And it's like I've kept putting it off and working in other aspects, but I finally had a good amount of stretch of time, in a sense, to work on it. So I'm very happy about that. That's how it worked. So I've potentially, I think I've added about 1/3 of the entirety of the story, which to me is a nice sizable chunk. It took about 3 months. I hope it's 1/3 to a half. We'll see. It's kind of hard to say exactly. It's kind of hard to say how, you know, exactly how long the story is going to be. We'll see how it all ends up, and for the most part I think it's going really well. I think the story just kind of naturally goes from like being very low level to just sort of ramping up with the player, going from, you know, a little ship to then fleets, and then from there going towards owning bases and capturing the entire map, probably facing huge threats and things like that. And the nice thing about, in a way of sort of being distracted, not being able to work constantly, is that I actually had a lot of time to think, what's the next mission going to be, how's the story going to go from there. So there's, in a way, even though maybe I haven't been working as much as I was prior to Baby arriving, that sort of downtime lets me plan, lets me think, and I think that's why it kind of went pretty smooth. You know, I was able to add usually several missions a week, and tweak them and make them interesting and things like that. So I'm pretty happy about that. So what's next? So what's next? I'm probably going to keep working on story missions. I'll hopefully get halfway, or maybe 2/3 the way before I stop. And at that point, the game will be more about like capturing bases and things like that as part of the story. And I'll probably work on that a bunch, making that a little bit more dynamic with other factions fighting back. You know, if you take their base, they won't like it. They'll fight back. You know, that's not in the game yet. So I'll probably be working more about on the late game. And at that point, I'll probably finish up the story, do polish, and then prepare for release. So it's sort of in sight. You know, it's sort of in sight. Pretty excited about that. It's one of those things, you know, it's almost, it's kind of scary. It's a weird feeling when you think about finishing something that you've been working for a long time. It's sort of scary because that's like it's like taking an exam. It's like studying for an exam and then taking the exam. There's sort of no going back, you know. It's sort of how it goes. Of course, the game is going to keep getting bug fixes and potentially more content, you know, depending on how everything goes, what the needs are, what the feedback is. But in a way, when you release on Steam, that's when your biggest potential for an audience is, for the life of the game and things like that. So it's like the sort of like a big exam, you know, to sort of relate it to someone who's a student, which I think a lot of us can relate to. So speaking of the story, got to the point where it sort of is going to touch on owning bases. So what I might do is I might change the way base capture ships are handled. Right now you can just flat out buy them, but I might change that and sort of unlock them via the story. And some of you that got further into the game than others that do, you know, capture bases and capture the entire map might be going like, oh, that's not good because this, because that. Well, to sort of combat that, to sort of give you that freedom, if you just want a pure sandbox, I might make a different game mode that's just that's without the story, and capture ships are just unlocked from the beginning. If you have the money to buy them, you can buy them. So I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about sort of that aspect where I might have a split there. The other nice thing about working on the story is that, you know, you guys still let me know when there's a bug or issues or crashes or things like that, because I'm not so much adding new features. I'm not adding too many bugs, and because you guys still report bugs, it's this nice feeling of being able to sort of catch up. You know, when I kept adding features, when I kept working on the game in that sense, I could add quite a bunch of features, which meant I could potentially add quite a bunch of bugs, and then I would have to like catch on and fix the bugs as they were reported. But there was always like a bunch of bugs that were just sort of hanging around. Via this method, via working on the story, it sort of allowed me to catch up, which feels really nice. Of course, when I add more elements towards the late game, it'll sort of be, we'll go back to sort of that aspect, but at least I can kind of do a nice sweep of those. Okay, so that's about it. You know, when you're working at one thing just kind of all the time, like the story stuff, updates are sort of not very dynamic, you know, but like I said, I'll keep working on the story. I wanted to update you guys. I don't like it where I don't do a post and a video for too long. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy I got the chance to talk to you guys, update you guys on what's going on. As always, thank you very much for your support. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. It's even more important now that I have a baby, another mouth to feed, and then potentially, all sorts of future costs with children, including my baby's own computer in the future, or video game system, or who knows, all that great stuff. So thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it even more now. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys later.